right, so in this one, we are going to be reacting to Garesh's ranking the top 10 best characters in the game, April 2025 edition here. This actually just came out. I have not seen much of any of it here, so I'm curious to see what goes through. Usually these lists actually do end up seeing prior to, but I really haven't seen much, so it's not actually anything at all. This literally just happened, like, what, 30 an hour ago, so let us jump into it here. We will just jump straight into number 10. I assume there's going to be, like, there's always, like, just a few that are just like, wow, that's here, huh? That's interesting. Maybe, like, 2 or 3 of those. That's just my prediction, though. Let us see. Number 10, though.
Our way down to 1. All right, so at number 10, I am actually going to have this as a shared spot. This is the only shared spot on this list, and I'm just going to throw both these guys at number 10.
All right, Doo and Super Trunks. Now, Super Trunks, I would say, is, I don't know where I had him top 15, which means he was at the lesser end of it, obviously, being like 13? Was he 13? I think he was 13. It was like MZ, MV, Super Trunks, I think it was. IT Goku? One of those two, 13, 14. So I can understand that. Again, I think anyone within like top 15, even arguable top 20, can be considered number 10 slot. 'Cause that is just a very switchable spot, you know, within the meta times. Obviously, Super Trunks I would lower because Super Saiyan 4 Goku, right? So I wouldn't have him there as he doesn't really do much against him. And Doo, the one experience I had with using Majin Doo and the many experiences I've had facing him, he does virtually nothing. I don't know what his value really is. I guess I'll hear it here, but Doo I would consider much worse than Super Trunks, even though, I mean, yellows aren't bad right now. Really, they're not, especially because people are not really running Ultra Cell. Yeah, I would consider Super Trunks better than Doo, but I mean, number 10 slot really isn't a big deal, so I don't particularly even care about these two units, but I guess I'll hear out Mr. Doo here. Super Trunks, I do understand, though.
Tried to think about who I thought really was better right now, and it's tough.
I think this implies MV is top 10.
We have Super Trunks and Majin Doo. I think I'll start with Majin Doo because he is a brand new character.
What does he do?
He is a very good addition to the Daima team, a very solid unit. As a 1% sparking, really tough to ask for much more than what this guy's bringing to the table here. He is a character that pretty much can do most things. I think disrupt, very strong, defense, pretty strong, supporting, healing. The only thing I would say is maybe his damage is a little low, but he has double ultimates.
My thoughts on Doo is it's just going to be a worse Tamagami, isn't it? Like, he has endurance and cancel buff effect, which Tamagami has half that. He doesn't have endurance, he has cancel buff effect. Tamagami's is also team-wide. He doesn't have to be in prior. Doo's is he has to be in prior. But the thing is with Doo is, like, his damage might be, I guess if Tamagami pops a green card, Tamagami does more damage, but his damage might be a little better from, like, setting to setting, I guess. But all I notice in Doo is that he obscures. I don't really think his defense is great. His sustainability, I would say, is probably worse than Tamagami's if you look at a full kit-to-kit. And his disrupt is just that obscure. I don't think he's that powerful, but I mean, that's just my perspective.
Pretty good synergy with the rest of the Daima characters, specifically Goku, the character that he dropped with on the same banner. One thing I like about this character is that he does have a buff removal charge from standby that can activate. Pretty strong against Ultra Cell. I think the way you want to use Ultra Cell, we'll talk about Ultra Cell later as we get through some of these higher up characters here. But Ultra Cell, one way I think you want to use him against specifically the Daima setup is you want to use his ultimate with the type neutrality active to get rid of Goku's indestructible.
Correct.
That is, I think, the best way to use that Cell, just to set up his rush for later, right? Because obviously Cell's rush will
just
tear through everything.
Pop that whenever you can,
or
right?
Come back, or
but optimally, right? Yes.
So you want to use his ultimate, I think, just to get rid of the indestructible, but this guy makes it very tough for that to be a thing, because if you use the ultimate with Cell, when you're type neutral, this character is actually going to remove the neutrality on Cell, so it becomes even harder to use him. We'll talk about Rose later. Rose can kind of not let that happen, I guess, but this character does make it a little bit harder for Cell to be as effective against the Daima team, which, you know,
talking about him,
Cell isn't in a great spot against Daima to begin with, but this guy makes it even harder. This character, I think, with the obscure is like, so this is going to be a common thing when we talk about Majin Ku as well, but there are mechanics like obscure, paralysis that it's really hard to evaluate because it's at the end of the day just down to luck a lot of the times. Like, do you actually get paralyzed? When you're obscured, do you actually click cards you don't want to click? I think with paralysis, it's a bit more...
I agree and disagree with that take. Paralysis, I'm not going to say either is more reliable, because it's not. But if I'm in a match and I'm fighting a coup or a do, or I'm fighting both together, whatever. But from experience, I will have a much more strugglesome situation for myself, and probably most people, if coup is most likely going to paralyze me at least one time that match, right? I'm probably going to get free comboed, and that's just a tough life. But when do does an obscure, maybe like 1 in 10, 1 in 20 settings, that'll mess me up and kind of, throw me over. Though you can actually play around obscure if you do have a situation for yourself where, let's say you got 30 key when it popped, right? Let's say that's what you have left over. Well, then the blue card will be grayed out. Then you use it, let's say you do the strike card next. Okay, then you have 11 key, and maybe you'll see your next cards and be like, okay, well, these are all grayed out. Maybe my green card's able to be procced, and I can see that. You can kind of, again, I'm not saying fully, clearly not. It's still RNG. But you can kind of understand much more with Obscure what's going on than your character having a literal shock in their body and you're paralyzed and you get a free combo done against you. Matter of fact, if you're using coup, a recommendation I would have, and it sounds very dumb, but like it's good, just spam strikes. It's not like you're predicting a drop combo, no, but if that paralyzer does proc, you see it's above their bar, you see it's there, and it's, well, existent, just spam strikes, because that paralyze does proc, boom, you're striking, you're instant comboing, you have guaranteed free combo coming to your way, and I think that is more problematic than Obscure. Again, I understand that both RNG, but if there is one that's more of an issue, people are not complaining about Obscure, they're complaining about Paralyze. And, it's like a Hero Hercule thing. No one's complaining about Purple Whis' Obscure. We're complaining about Hero Hercule's Paralyze when, that was prevalent.
Thing, right? That you're probably going to end up getting more value out of Paralysis.
Which I mean, usually out of Obscure, I assume that means coup is higher.
That's how I feel. Right. The only thing with Obscure is if you're obscuring a character, where I feel it's really important and really valuable, is if you're obscuring a character like Super Saiyan 3 Goku, who is able to just combo you forever.
Then you do like a blue card
Super Saiyan
instead.
3 Goku who's obscure accidentally clicks a blue, that is going
honestly,
to
if you do the Obscure when they have an ultimate, really like they just pop main draw an ult, they draw two cards.
Be really good
like
in that way. If you have a character who's drawn an ultimate, you don't know. Click their ultimate.
You don't know. You could guess, but you don't know.
Sometimes it happens. This guy has a projectile blue, which could be a good way to like drop combo into strike card or something like that. He's got blast armor, which is nice, of course, even though he's a ranged character.
Yeah, I don't know why he's ranged. That's really what throws me for him.
His
fully
endurance
very
is
ranged.
I think is really strong. Paralysis, I guess we could just talk about this now.
Team-wide paralysis,
is kind of like, again, it's in talking about it in the same breath as the Obscure mechanic. It is 100% an RNG mechanic, but it is a very powerful RNG mechanic. If the opponent is paralyzed, most of the time, if you're a good player and you're paralyzed, you tend to switch out of the character who's paralyzed. But if your entire team is paralyzed,
which he does, which is very
not really
good,
much you can do about it. You just kind of have like at all times, you kind of have just whatever the percent chance.
Surely
is,
units moving forward will be immune
or something. It's
to paralyze.
Really
by the way, surely
paralysis is very strong. But overall, I don't really see like a massive weakness in this character. He is debuffing a lot in terms of arts power when you talk about blues. He's healing a lot. He's healing the team, supporting. So yeah, just a really, really strong character.
Biggest weakness just falls within like, you don't need him? Like if you run Coup, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, and Super Saiyan 4 Goku, what are you missing? Do you need Do on that team? If you run Tamagami 3, Coup, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, I don't think you're missing much. If you run Tamagami 3, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, I feel like you don't miss anything when Doo's not there. I'd rather have Tamagami on my team than Do. Despite he has these pretty obvious, positives to him, I don't think they're just such an overwhelming feat. The only thing that ever really does impact me from Do is the team-wide paralysis, but then you just go back to running Coup instead, which you'll get the paralysis more often at that point. So if you're going to choose between Do or Coup, which you're clearly going to run Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and Super Saiyan 4 Goku as the other two, you're most likely going to choose Coup. And if you're going to choose between Do and Tamagami, because you don't have Coup somehow, I would choose Tamagami. Again, I just think Tamagami does more for a full setting of PvP than do. I also think Tamagami probably gives you a better setting to win in a long match, Daima versus Daima. You are getting your rush a little bit faster with Tamagami at that point, so would be nicer for you. But that's going to be number 10, tied 10. I don't care about Super Trunks. Again, I kind of understand why he's in this area, so I agree-ish to an extent. Let us see number 9.
Super Trunks. Okay, so number 9 is going to be Ultra Majin Vegeta. I think
I get it. I get it. Again, if I do kind of agree or can understand what's going on, I'll probably just move on to the next thing. But I get it. MV. Personally, again, this guy was like 12 or something like that. Again, it was either IT Goku or MV that was 12 or 13 for me. I know MZ was number 11, but yeah, I get it. I get it completely. UMV still has value. Matter of fact, you could probably just say he gained value within this release because of, well, the accessibility to kind of get through snipe potentials there. Green Diamond Goku, actually, with UMV is a very good duo because they both have sub-count up manipulation. MV on entry, Green Diamond Goku on cards. You pair that together, that's 4 to 5 sub-counts up. UMV does his main, he locks in, Vegeta dies, Ku dies, Do can die, Tamagami can die. Like, they can all just die very quickly because MV. So, value is there for him. Understandable. Unfortunate. No one wants this guy to have value, but it is understandably still relevant. And, well, yeah, top 10. I get it. 10 through 9. It's always going to be a hazy spot between what you consider it. It's really, at that point, it's more subjective than objective. Once you kind of hit the higher tiers, it becomes much more objective what is going on. So UMV, understandable. Again, I would have Tamagami and Ku tied 9-10. So I assume Ku's probably next, honestly. He's either next or somehow higher, which I think would be a bit glazed to put him higher than 8. But yeah, UMV, I get it. His value is technically up, especially because people are scared to run Cell, despite Cell still being amazing. It's wild. But number 8 is going to be
the next character. All right, so number 8 is
Majin Ku. All right, well, so far, most of the things here I could basically agree. Super Trunks, UMV, Ku here. Ku, again, I would have a little bit lower. I think people are a bit overestimating him. I don't think his damage is bad per se, but I think people are like a little bit overglazing him on that, despite the fact I am 14, arts boost, all this. Trust me, I know how good Ku is, and I think he's pretty good. I think he does his job very well. He fulfills the role Daima doesn't particularly need, but you're getting 50% support from a character, you're getting gimmicks with a character, you're getting infinite vanishes with a character, you're getting defense neutral with him, you're getting a lot of utility of disrupt there that disrupts most units in the game. Yeah, his value is going to be pretty high. So number 8 there, I completely understand. I completely, basically agree at that point. So let's get to number 7. This is going pretty fast, this one.
On to number 7. All right, so number 7 is going to be
Did I have him 7? I think I had him 7. Okay, Super Saiyan Goku. Yes, I'll let this go out, though. His value does go down, though. Yes, that is
Super
correct.
Saiyan 3.
I hope he mentions
Goku. I think
Tamagami because of this, because that would be the main reason why.
Good. We're still waiting for that monster purple character to come out. I don't know what's taking so long.
Goku or Vegeta would be that.
Transmission purple coming out Goku in February.
Really thought.
He's more of like an all-around style character, not really a monster in any one area. So again, because it was him, and then it was Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta with the last 2 purples that were major premium LF or Ultra releases. So
still waiting.
Purple is, we've got a lot of good 1% sparkings. 17.
We need purple.
3. Now Majin Do. So they're giving us purple.
There's so many greens in the top tiers. You'll see it.
1% sparkings, and also the purple
this is already number 7
LF Zenkai character. But they just won't.
Purple Cell LF Zenkai should have been so much better. He's not even bad. It's just powerful, better.
Just LF or Ultra Purple character. So we're
should have been the green stomper.
That's one of the reasons why I think this character is still as good as he is. But he also is just very effective against the Daima team, I think. Right, the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. The biggest thing about him is his immunity to all of these debuffs.
So Ku's disrupt, while it is very strong, this guy VB
health restoration debuffs.
I think that's it. Are immune.
All of the attribute downgrades, all the abnormal conditions, all the paralysis, all of those things. This character does not care about once he is in the Super Saiyan 3 form, which I think is super valuable. The only thing to mention about this character up against the Daima team is Super Saiyan 4 Goku's buff removal does kind of make it a bit more tough for this character to just continuously combo forever and ever and ever, especially if you want to pair that up alongside Majin Du's ability to obscure his hand. I mentioned this when talking about Majin Du. For example, you're comboing with this character, you've got your hand obscured, and gosh darn it, you accidentally click on the blue card.
We're going to mention
That ends the
Tamagami,
combo,
right?
Obviously, the blue card's going to end the combo. So that is one thing that can kind of hold this guy back a little bit, especially against Majin Buu. But let's say the opponent's not even using Majin Buu. Goku's buff removal can hurt this character in terms of removing his
Tamagami don't exist. I forgot. He ain't in the game anymore. The point I mentioned with Tamagami instead of Do is that, again, I think Tamagami has better sustainability, so I would mention him. Then, yes, the same premise goes with Do, the cancel buff effect. I guess Do is better at it because it does have, he does have endurance, so he wouldn't die to Goku's rush because Super Saiyan 4 Goku removed the endurance. But, as well as Tamagami would just soak better, Tamagami probably defends better and flows better within the team. That's why I mentioned him. But yes, both purples on Daima do really hurt this Goku. That is the whole point of why he does go down. So, same placement, I think. I believe I have number 7. I think I did. Where's Turles? Wait, why is Turles not here? He doesn't do anything? Even honorable mention? That's kind of crazy. Okay. I just realized that. Is anyone else missing? Wait, Turles kind of throws me for a loop. How? Okay. Not above Super Trunks? Really? Man, that kind of threw me for a minute, because I think I had Goku and Turles, like, next to each other. Okay. Well, regardless, that really just threw me off. Wow. Goku, yes, he gets hurt by Daima. Obviously, he's very good against other teams, which is every other team in the game, but if you get hurt by a team, you're going to lose value because of that. And Goku doesn't really have a full functional, like, yes, this is where he goes, this is where you slot him every time. Goku can fit on many strike-based teams, for sure. Like, you could run him with UMV, you could run him with, Beast, you could run him with whoever. You could run him with Super Saiyan 4 Goku, you could run him with Vegeta, you could run Mono Green, you could do all that. He doesn't have just a set in stone, like, this is his peak, this is where he's going to look like a god, a deity. He looks like a god on every team, but like an even further god. Like Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta on Daima with Ku and Super Saiyan 4 Goku versus him without that support, without that safety, looks much different than with, right? That's kind of what Goku doesn't have. Gotenks kind of taking hits, UMV taking hits from Cell. It's not ideal, Buu Saga. So Goku, yeah, he's just not perfect, which is good. This is a little toxic guy unit, but yeah, number 7. I see it, and I'm pretty sure I agree with it. Number 6 will be...
Number 6 next. Number 6 is going to be Ultra Rose.
What? I mean, you mentioned him earlier. Is this mean God Goku's not top 10? I think that's what that implies here, huh? I don't think I'm going to see God Goku now. I see Ultra Rose, I'm not going to see God Goku. So, before we even get into Rose, because I need to hear this, wouldn't... God Goku has the most neutral... Matter of fact, someone actually showed me, his neutral can't be canceled. Matter of fact. Which is great for him. The most neutral, and we're talking about Do here. I think there's an attempt to talk about Tamagami, at least from my end. I run into Tamagami more than Do at this point. There's an attempt to talk about Tamagami here. And with those being units in the game, because they're in the game, and Daima's the main team to run into, you would want to care about what the unit, disadvantage is and how they can do against it. Green is disadvantaged purple. And Rose is... I don't know. He exists? What? I need to hear this.
Goku Black. The amount of value this character has gained from the last, 3 releases. Well, not really so much Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, but Cell and his role on the future team with this guy. Then we have the Daima. I'll just refer to the Daima team as like a collective here. Super Saiyan 4 Goku plus Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. Again, one of the big mechanics that Super Saiyan 4 Goku brings to the table is his ability to remove enemy.
What value did he gain with Cell on Future? Wait, what? I guess. I don't think I really ever saw Ultra Rose with Cell. I don't really ever I don't remember ever seeing that, to be honest.
Special cover change nullification,
I get
which
it.
will
It's
allow
plat.
the team to be able to
He has
cover
value
change
because he has
characters,
cover null
especially
because
Goku
it's
with his
plat.
cover change against
I understand.
strikes and black cards. The only problem with that, specifically referring to how this Ultra Rose Goku Black works, is because he gets his special cover change nullification through his platinum equipment. That actually cannot be removed by Goku's buff removal effects. So even though Goku was removing this character's buff,
but Rose then does 4 strikes, 3 blasts, whatever. I don't know how many cards it is, whatever, to fill up the gauge. It's very fast. And then he gets cover null from his gauge. So then his cover null can be removed, and probably within like the same combo, that actually ends up happening. Decent bit. Not too much, but like you'll see it happen. Again, I don't think Rose is impeccably valuable. Even if he is good against Goku, well, this might be shocking to hear, God Goku gets his own cover null from landing Strike or Blast, then he can reset his cover null via a green. So he has 2 ways to get cover null as well. Rose, it's just, Rose's just worse at that point, is he not? Because God Goku could do it. He has a better setup for himself via AoE green, via more neutral. I mean, I just feel like God Goku's objectively better.
Effects. That special cover
this is where I place God Goku
will
6.
persist through the buff removal,
6?
which will allow this character to combo effortlessly. This character does a lot of damage on what I think is his best setup. This guy next to Future Gohan and Trunks, and then the Ultra Cell. You just run full offensive equips. You run Zenkai buffs for all characters. You don't even really need an HP buffer. You just go full offense, and you just tear into characters. Now, if the opponent is running a team that has Majin Buu on it, it's just a different variant of Daima. It could be a little bit tougher for this character, but even then, I mean, this guy is using so many...
distinctly remember 99% of everybody, and myself included, because I still agree with this, Rose's damage when he's first starting up isn't otherworldly. It's competent. It's alright. I don't know. That was really glazed wording. I mean, I used Ultra Rose decently enough, and I think I can attest to damage can get very good. Especially if they swap, he has double card draw, triple card draw, I get it. But initially, I just don't know about the initial kind of really gas stuff that he was just kind of implying there. It's kind of
removing so many of the opponent's buff removal effects that you can actually get value, I think, out of the type neutral from his main ability. Again, one of the really good things about this character is the ability that he gets multiple ultimates, because you can use a lot of those ultimates 2, 3 in a row to remove a lot of the opponent's buff removals from stand. Like Majin Buu has that. Whenever I'm using, like I did a video on this, actually this video probably will go up after that one. But I did a video revisiting Ultra Cell on the feature team, and I used Rose, and it honestly almost turned into an Ultra Rose showcase, because I would use Ultra Rose just to get rid of like Majin Buu's buff removal effects, and that opened up Ultra Cell's ultimate to get rid of Goku's indestructible, and then we, sort of like fed that into a Rising Rush, and then everybody just dies. So this Rose is really good. The only problem with him, actually Super Saiyan 3 Goku we just talked about kind of share a similar issue, is they are very weak defensively. This Rose's got the half HP disrupt that Super Saiyan 3 Goku doesn't even have. That Super Saiyan 3 Goku really is pretty weak defensively. But this guy at least has the HP recovery at half HP, but even then, like, this guy just gets torn in half by like Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. Even like Majin Buu can do a lot of damage to this character, and especially Majin Buu because type advantage. But yeah, this guy is really, really strong offensively. You get like a paralysis up with his blue card, and that literally could be the end of the match. You could win straight off getting paralysis from his blue. It could snowball that hard. This guy is stacking damage, stacking sustained damage cut penetration whenever the enemy is afflicted with bleed, and you go for a strike.
I think Ultra Rose is the next coming of Christ.
That's a really powerful
after hearing this,
that.
I gotta use him again.
When this guy's platinum equipment first dropped, I thought that they did not do enough for him. But they really set this character up in a way to where his platinum equipment has gained a lot of value over the course of the past month.
It has gained value, so, I do agree.
This Rose, very powerful character. He's number 6. Let's move on to the top 5.
So great Beast. I agree with Beast being number 5. So with Rose, I get lost on that because the whole point is that he has the multiple ults and you could go through the silliness that is all these cancel buffs, and I understand that, but what if I just give you a theoretical here, and I just, again, I'm going to go back to God Goku because I think he should be there instead. I don't think Ultra Rose is even top 10. What if I just use God Goku then? Just do my cards and then do more damage because God Goku out damages Rose, and then your settings you're gone. I don't have to cancel your buffs 9,000 times. I just click cards and then you go boom boom. Is that not just easier? I get it. Can't be canceled, cover null. I'm there with you. I really am. But that's all I get. That's the degree of my getting with the understanding here. Rose against T3 is pointless. I've fought Roses this season actually using Daima, and I don't use Do because I don't think Do is very good, but I use T3, and apparently T3 is worse, at least on this list, on Grash's take here. So I just don't get this value of Rose. It kind of, I don't know if it is. Kind of strikes me as bait. Because it's just so odd that character have anybody. Like, God Goku would gain value. We are clearly seeing, if UMV was, like, a little bit worse off, then he gained value because Ultra Cell is less common. So wouldn't God Goku gain the same value? Because a blue just dropped, as well as from that blue dropping, we do, and I'm presuming Super Saiyan 4 Goku's number 1. I really hope he is. From that blue dropping, wouldn't God Goku gain value because Cell just starts dipping out of usage? Which is what would lower God Goku's value inherently. So where does Rose factor into that equation in that mold? I don't really get it. Again, you're worried about the cancel buff effect thing, and that's cool, that's great, that's awesome. If this unit can get cover null 2 times, which God Goku can, you could easily run him on a team that could give him green cards, by the way. Whether it be with Diamond Red Goku, whether it be with some Vegeta RNG with his, extra cards he draws, whether it be with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, whether it be with Turles, I don't know, run him somewhere. You can get green cards pretty easily generated in this game right now. It's very, very simple. UMV, for God's sake. There's 2 ways to get cover null with him. So with that being the case, I would just, in my opinion, it's just objectively a thing that God Goku's better. I don't know what Rose does better. But I'm going to be stuck on that one. That one throws me. Again, Turles not being here also kind of doesn't fully shock me, but it kind of throws me for a little loop. I get it. Vegeta gained value. Trust me, I know. But still, the other greens kind of seemingly lost value, though. Beast, though, I think I had number 5. Was it 4 or 5? I think it got Goku's 4 or 5 there. I'm already lost in my own tier list. It's been a couple days. But Beast, yeah, I can understand it. We'll move on from there and see who is number 4.
Okay, so number 4 is going to be LF Super Saiyan 3.
Wait, is Vegeta 4 for me? I think he was 4. Yeah. Vegeta. Great job, Vegeta. Again, I just like to compare this to a Triku Turles. Triku initially was alright. He wasn't crazy. I wasn't crazy about him. I thought he was pretty, just average, right? He was just average. He wasn't terrible, but he was just average. You didn't need him. Very much so an unnecessary character. But Turles drops, and then that becomes the best duo in the game, Triku Turles. Same thing with Vegeta. Initially, no need for this character. There's 7,000 different greens that are very much as competent, if not more competent than him. Then, once he gets his partner, which makes the Diamond Team a full set-on, actual roster with himself, Ku, and Super Saiyan 4 Goku, yes, Vegeta will gain value. And guess what? Vegeta did gain value. He is the hardest hitting burst damage dealer in the game because you have Cup Pen stacking on each card, you have 3% support from Daima, and you run him on a team. Well, I love that. With Ku, you are going to see him at nuke teams, whether it be high star, low star. This is one of those non-stargated units, actually. Vegeta will hit you as that, especially, again, if you run him with Ku, which he is clearly intended to do, you'll see him be very top tier. So, goes to number 4. Though, I will say there is an easy equation to make where if they do drop a purple, which it has to be soon, we need a new premium purple, LF, Ultra, whatever, and I assume it's going to happen next, LF release, it would be God Goku and Vegeta being the highest value greens, but even then, the best thing about Vegeta over, I would say, even God Goku, again, this is just my secondary green in the game right now, God Goku, Vegeta being number 1, would be that Vegeta's neutral is nearing the end of his combo, right? It's the last few cards. God Goku's is the beginning within his gauge. So if you have cancel buff effect, God Goku sometimes can lose that neutral. Oh no, woe is me. I got to make some swaps and I got to play around that, right? I'll run a yellow unit, I'm fine, but still I got to play around that. Individually, the unit is worse off in that setting. But Vegeta's being end of combo, he does kind of avoid, let's say, here's Tamagami 3, you're due. All right, Goku cancel my buff effect, but I got a green card, or this setting happened, and then after a few cards, okay, now I'm neutral. This dude's in now. I get to beat the shit out of him because I'm neutral at the end, and instead of the beginning, I didn't lose my neutral. So, Vegeta, very good value. Obviously has gained much. Again, I could unfortunately see him falling fast, but for now, he is very good. Number 3.
Sure. Okay, so number 3 is Ultra
Yeah,
Perfect
I agree with that. At this point, we're just going to speed run this. Number 2 is going to be...
Number 2. All right, so number 2
Trunks,
is going...
and number 1 is going to be...
Spot next. All right,
Super
so
Saiyan 4 Goku, figured. All right, well, again, I would have Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Gohan Trunks arguable. I think Super Saiyan 4 Goku's impact on the cancel buff effect is very profound, and that's why he would be arguable number 1, because 90% of units in the game are going to be impacted by that. But, on the other hand of that coin, you got to flip it over there and see Gohan Trunks can fit on any team in the game, any roster, any setting. They will always do their role and do very good in a match on any team. Strike, Blast, because they have good equips on Strike, they have good equips on Blast, they have even stats. They just do amazing anywhere. Goku is limited. His best setting will be Daima. He can do fine on other teams, but it's clearly intended for Daima. So with that, I do think there's a debate between 1 and 2. I think I would have them shared tier because that is just kind of where I'm flowing with that. What's more valuable? The team-wide, situational, how many teams can we fit, and how good are these other teams? Or how good this individual unit is and how much impact they're having. I think that's kind of a debatable thing. That's which one's more important at that point. Again, I think Goku technically is more important, but it could be argued that Gohan Trunks is as well. If you had that number 1, I would not debate you. I would just be like, all right, that makes sense. And Ultra Cell number 3. I think people are downplaying Ultra Cell. His value is still very high. If I see him outside top 5, I just think it's, bait at that point because Ultra Cell is still very good. But, yeah, Ultra Rose, again, I'm on board with the premise of him gaining value. I am. And maybe you could argue me even top 10. I initially don't think so, but if you do try to argue it, I'm not going to, throw it out there and be like, nah, not really. But again, I'm just shocked God Goku doesn't even touch the list. He's not. God Goku is worse than Super Trunks on this list, which is just crazy to me. Just wild. That character, I don't know what he does bad, but apparently he does something bad that he doesn't make the list. I'm just disbelief of that. But overall, about 90% of this tier list I agree with. I'm sure if someone would look at my list, they'd be like, oh, what the hell's that guy doing there instead of that guy? What's Turles doing here instead of, I don't know, who am I going to replace Turles with? What's Turles doing at number 8 instead of UMV? I don't know. I guess you could argue them, sure. But again, I always think those 10 through 8s, 10 through 9s kind of are always that big debate spot of here's the bottom, this 8 through 10, and then here's 10 through 15 that could all be 8 through 15, right? So that's where that'd be. But generally, again, it's just Rose that throws me for a loop. Turles, I can understand him not being here. Honorable mention would have been nice, but I get it. I get it a little bit. What do you guys think of my reaction to Gresh's top 10 tier list? I'll see you guys in the next one.